Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Today, the men and women of the Air Force Accessions Center observe a change of command in which the reins of responsibility and leadership will pass from Brigadier General Christopher Amrine to Brigadier General Jeffrey Nelson. You will also observe the senior enlisted change of responsibility as Chief Master Sergeant Rebecca Arbona transfers command chief duties to Chief Master Sergeant Liz Featherston. The presiding official for today's ceremony is the Commander, Air Education and Training Command, Lieutenant General Brian Robinson. A distinctive feature of military ceremonies is the formal presentation of command to the reviewing official. Today's Commander of Airmen is Brigadier General Joseph Sheffield, Deputy Commander, Air Force Accessions Center. The flight commanders are Colonel Lane Trosper, Deputy Commander, Air Force Recruiting Service, and Colonel Eugene Moore, Director, Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps. The formations today represent the men and women from both Air Force Recruiting Service and the Gene M. Holmes Center that make up the Air Force Accessions Center. After the Commander of Airmen presents the command, the Air Force Band of the West will play Ruffles and Flourishes and the General's March in honor of General Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party, the playing of musical honors, the presentation of the colors, the playing of the national anthem, and our invocation. Of the colors and the playing of our national anthem.
Advance the colors!
now deliver our invocation.
Let us pray. Lord our God, as we say farewell to one commander and greet a new leader, we ask your blessing on each of them, Brigadier General Christopher Amrine and Brigadier General Jeffrey Nelson, respectfully. They are each taking on new responsibilities and opportunities. Those who know them best and love them, please pray with me now as we pray together for the grace that they continually be inspired to do the best, all that they have to offer. We have served and will serve with them, Lord, and we ask your blessing on them, on ourselves, on airmen and on guardians everywhere who risk their lives to defend our great country and the world's freedom in the days and years ahead. We would be remiss if not remembering your grace on their families who support them with loving care. Lord, inspire all of us to do our best each day and lead us to serve our leaders with humility, compassion, and effective enthusiasm. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good morning and welcome. The Change of Command ceremony is a time-honored military tradition deeply rooted in history, which dates back to the time of Frederick the Great of Prussia. During that period, military organizations developed flags unique to their unit with specialized colors and designs. When the soldiers followed their leaders into battle, their flag provided a very visible point around which members of the unit could rally during the conflict. Both commander and soldiers of a unit would dedicate their loyalty, trust, and allegiance to this flag. The formal change of command ceremony afforded these troops the opportunity to witness a new leader assuming their dutiful position. Please welcome our family members and guests from the Air Education and Training Command in attendance. The spouse of our presiding official, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Air Force retired, Maureen Robinson. The spouse of the Air Education and Training Command Deputy Commander, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Air Force retired, Wendy Quinn. Command Chief, Air Education and Training Command, Chief Master Sergeant Chad Bickley. The members of General Amrine's family joining us today are his wife, Kathy, his daughter, First Lieutenant, United States Air Force, Annie Amrine, his daughter, Laurel, his son, CJ, his sister, Corinne Coots, and her husband, Ronnie, his family friends, Colonel, United States Air Force retired, Frank Kapp, and Colonel, United States Air Force retired, Fred Hutchison, as well as Colonel, United States Air Force retired, Lance Schmidt. Also joining us today are members of General Nelson's family, his wife, Courtney, his son, Tanner, his daughter, Reagan, his father, Senior Master Sergeant, United States Air Force retired, Wayne Nelson, and his wife, Master Sergeant, United States Air Force retired, Donna Nelson, his mother, Erin Lesh, his sister, Melissa DeMarco. From Chief Master Sergeant Arbona's family, her husband, Chief Master Sergeant, United States Air Force retired, Steve Arbona, her daughter, Raina. From Chief Master Sergeant Featherston's family, her husband, Micah Featherston, her son, Jeremy Cloyd, her daughter, Kalini Cloyd, her father, Gene Nelson, her brother, Gunnery Sergeant, United States Marine Corps retired, John Nelson. We are pleased to have the following distinguished visitors in attendance with us. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. The Commander, 19th Air Force, Major General Greg Kruder. Major General, United States Air Force Retired, Irv Lessel. Major General, United States Air Force Retired, Craig Wills and his wife, Britt. Major General, United States Air Force Retired, Jeannie Levitt. Major General, United States Air Force Retired, Bill Spangenthal. Executive Director, Air Force Personnel Center, Ms. Kimberly Toney. Commander, 502nd Air Base Wing, Brigadier General Randy Oakland and his wife, Christy. Deputy Commander, Air Force Recruiting Service, Brigadier General Craig McPike and his wife, Jennifer. Brigadier General, United States Air Force Retired, Dave Peterson. Brigadier General, United States Air Force Retired, Jimmy Canlis. Director, Logistics, Engineering, and Air Force Protection, Air Education and Training Command, Dr. Jillian Watson. Senior Advisor for the Strategic Communications, Air Force Accessions Center, Ms. Laura Stott. Secretary of the Air Force Civic Leader, Ms. Klaus Weisworm and his wife, Charla. Air and Space Force Civic Leader, Dr. Joe Leverett. Air Education and Training Command Civic Leader, Ms. Candace Braddock and her husband, the Honorable David Braddock. From the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Lane Tucherone. From the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Katie Ferrier. Although time does not allow us to introduce all of our distinguished guests, we would like to welcome all commanders, chiefs, military members, family, and friends who are joining us both in person and virtually for this special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander of Air Education and Training Command, General Robinson.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. What an awesome, momentous day here to mark the first change of command for the Air Force Accessions Center, another milestone for this organization. I echo the welcome and appreciation for all the senior leaders, past and present, that have served well and led us and shown us the way. Thank you for joining us. But in the interest of time, I won't go back through, but thank you for being here. Thank you to the family members. Let me start by saying thank you to the protocol team, the project officers, the Band of the West, to put all this together, the members in formation, particularly the ROTC cadets that are here as well. What an emblematic representation of the unity that's been achieved here with the Accessions Center. But our most distinguished guests, to the Amrine family, Kathy especially, to the Nelson family, Courtney especially, Steve Arbona for the Arbona family, and the Featherston family as well for Micah. Thank you for being here. Thank you for what you have done in support of the mission, and thank you for what you're going to do in support of the mission. As I mentioned, quite a historic event. I'd like to start by going back through the importance of Air Force Accessions Center and the work that the folks on the ground do for our Air Force and our Space Force. You know, it's the first layer of the bedrock of the Air Force, but it's also much like the oxygen in the air. You don't know it's not there until you're gasping. That is the importance of the Air Force Accessions Center, the recruiting force, and the home center force throughout the world. Speaking of throughout the world, this is a globally postured, significantly geographically dispersed force, which oftentimes becomes forgotten by us that are here, or not even understood by those that don't deal in the First Command's mission. I'll come back to that later. But just to give you an idea of the importance, in terms of officer accessions, while the United States Air Force Academy is an esteemed institution for the Air Force, the Home Center and all the people that make up the work at the ROTC detachments bring in 83% of our commissioned officers every year, an important part. They operate and supervise and execute officer training school. They have 145 ROTC detachments in the United States, 830 junior ROTC programs in the country, and 1,275 recruiting offices here in the U.S. and throughout the world. And General Amrine, Chief Arbona, and Ms. Kathy have covered quite a bit of ground and territory to get out and see all of those forces. So what it means to our Air Force is, if we don't get the accessions correct, if we're not bringing in and attracting the best and the brightest of the youth of our country to come into the force, the Air Force and the Space Force that are indeed the tip of the spear for great power competition, so goes the rest of the Air Force. That is the importance of the mission that you all have done, have always had. And I'll talk a little bit now about some of the accomplishments under General Amrine's leadership, for which we are eternally grateful. And I'll cover some of the challenges and things, mostly things they've overcome. But as I mentioned, this is the first change of command, but not all that long ago, we had the first activation ceremony, which was October of 2024, to stand up Air Force Accessions Center. As we were looking for the next leader, for the time of consequence and change that we're in, I knew from having worked with General Amrine many years ago and throughout the intertwining between then and now, that you were definitely the person we needed on the point. And you have delivered in spades, and we'll talk about that. You have not disappointed us. Some would say he made it look easy, but I would tell you, he didn't make it look easy. He just put his head down with Chief Arbona and Kathy and got after the mission. I mentioned the oxygen not being in the air. One example of that would be, as you all know, in FY23, us and many of the other services did not make our or their recruiting goals. So that was the first significant element of change, that things had changed since 1999 in that case. But the Air Force is also going through significant organizational change not seen since 1991, which is when this command got the E in its title with Education versus Air Training Command. And there are some in our audience that remember the former. So we struggled to reach the recruits of tomorrow. And Bammer Amrine took that charge, gripped it, and moved out on how do we connect better, more broadly, and tell the Air Force and the Space Force's story and elevate the brand so that the youth of America see serving in the Department of the Air Force as a primary option, not a that's all that's left kind of option, and you've done exceedingly well. But you challenged us. You said the recruiting force is only 1,700 strong-ish on the Tier 1. Turns out every one of us in uniform are an ambassador in blue and can tell the Air Force's story and do a lot of the early work, the recon work, so that the recruiters can come in and finish the deal. And you challenged us to embark on that path. And hopefully we did you well in that way. So he steps into FY24, and the success they had in recruiting in FY24 in the end was total force, all components. We achieved the goal and a little bit above. So that was a job well done, a really miraculous turnaround that came from the hard work that you all put in that way. But then along comes, as I mentioned, the Air Force Accessions Center and the need to merge the Home Center with the Air Force Recruiting Service and benefit and understand the synergy that comes from unifying and integrating in a more complete way the accessions pipelines for officer and enlisted personnel in the force. And in a mere 8 months, you've brought this all together. Incredible, incredible work. You have literally rebuilt the aircraft while it's in flight. And this is why the Air Force is exceptionally grateful for your leadership, your determination, your commitment, your grit, to get after this. So in FY24, along comes the Warrant Officer Training School. For those who don't know the history, in 1958, the Air Force said we don't need warrant officers after much analysis. But then as we analyzed what's new in the strategic environment, we realized the decision was that we do need warrant officers specifically in cyber, in IT career fields. So we're going to bring that on, and again, with a handoff from Air University, who got it up and running on the day of activation of Air Force Accessions Center, Bammer and the team received the pass, or the pitch, and started running the play. So you move into FY25, still going. One thing he did in FY24, he has unique ability to operate at the strategic level, the tactical level, and the operational level. So I would say Bammer fully exploited the environment as it was at the strategic level. That meant he spent lots of time on the phone in the office with strategic leaders in the Pentagon who, based on the oxygen in the air not being there, were willing to look at almost everything that reasonably should be changed to improve the effectiveness of the recruiting force. And so those things happened. Things like the accessions, medical accessions waivers has become cumbersome and laborious. And so he found a way through resourcing and policy adjustments to improve that throughput processing by 80%. He brought resources, more manpower to the table at the MEPS and at the recruiting offices and on the staff so that we could get through the process that needed to be achieved to deliver recruits to the United States Air Force. As a result of all that work, we moved into FY25. And if you haven't read the press lately, the deepest delayed enlistment program that the Air Force has had in over 10 years. Right now it sits at about 15,000, a little north of that. Because of that, and the hard work, again, facilitated by the strategic engagement, the tactical prowess, the hard work of the line Tier 1 recruiters, they closed out FY25's recruiting goals 3 months ahead of schedule. Well done. But not only that, as I mentioned in my opening remarks about Air Force Accessions Center and its global disposition, it is a very unnatural existence for a lot of our airmen who go into recruiting from whence they came as a traditional member of the Air Force, and I say traditional, at a base like this, or Luke, or Spangdahlem or Shaw. They live on the economy. They live in the community by and large, both recruiting and ROTC. So how do you provide for, care for, and address the welfare needs of those airmen and their families? Bammer and Kathy and Chief Orbona dug into that and dug into it hard. The staff at AFRS understood that it is the staff's job to enable the mission hackers at the line level, the Tier 1 recruiters in this case, and the instructors at the ROTC detachments. Little things like improving recruiter assignments by 87%, to put people where they need to be, want to be, should be in development in a deliberate path. Things like how do they get access to the right type of medical care in a timely fashion for their family members, because we all know they work hard and put in countless hours. So you did incredible work taking care of the airmen and their families, and I believe that is partly why it shows that the results we have in FY25, and I'm sure we'll have more going forward. So thank you for your commitment to the airmen. You have done superbly well. Your leadership has been on point, as it always is. You grip the mission, you take care of the people. You're a change agent. You're not afraid of change. You look at what is reasonable and feasible that should be changed to allow our mission, your mission, to be more effective. From that comes a sense of pride that we can actually do this, and you actually have done that. And our Air Force, are eternally grateful for all the work that you've leaned into this. It's been a long, hard road. You've done very, very well, extremely well. Your leadership's been extraordinary. Thank you. To the members of the Accessions Center, soon you will see the passing of the guidon to your new leader, Brigadier General Jeff Nelson. I know him very well as well. He is the next leader that's right for the time that AFAC is in and that our Air Force is in to continue to strive to make a difference for our Air Force and to improve upon the foundation that's been built upon. He's an experienced commander, 3-time wing commander, once downrange in the combat zone, and obviously as a squadron commander. He is very, very astute at the tactical, operational, and strategic levels, has served extremely well in those positions. He's a graduate of the School of Advanced Air and Space Power Studies, which makes him, my generation would call him a Jedi in terms of strategery. But he's brought that to bear at OSD in the SecDef's office in his job there. But more importantly, he knows Air Education and Training Command inside and out. As a member of 19th Air Force, coming off of the AETC 3-6 director, he understands the mission that is extremely broad for this command and has touch points throughout the entire Air Force. You've re-optimized the 3-6 in this period of change that I referred to earlier. That work is not done yet either, so you can poke the gentleman to your right in the arm as you guys swap positions. He's done a great amount of work for, again, optimizing and facilitating the efficiency and efficacy of their instructor force in tech training, pilot training, and as well as at Air University and educational opportunities and leadership development. So you are the right person for the job. We look forward to you stepping in and taking the mantle. I know you'll do great. And we're super glad and proud to have you here, you and Courtney as well, to join us, so thank you. So as I close, the success of the United States Air Force in the infinite game that we call great power competition depends heavily on the most important resource that we have, which is our people, our airmen and our guardians. And again, if the Air Force Accessions Center, the Home Center, and all that are involved in developing people at the very start don't get it right, so goes the rest of the Air Force. We have to find and develop these folks that will carry us through the pressure of the competition phase, or even worse, if it's necessary, the crucible of combat, and condition them to be air-minded warriors and ready for the mission at hand. So I know AFAC is in good hands with Jeeves going forward. You will continue to make an impact in the ways that the Air Force needs you to, needs us to as a command. So Commander's intent that I have for you is the work is not done yet. FOC, full operational capability for Air Force Accessions Center, is 1 October of this year, a few months away. You need to work hard at telling our story to the youth of America, continue to build on that. That remains our goal. Modernize recruiting and accessions, and I would say operationalize the network and the force that you have to cover down as efficiently and as effectively as we can with the smallest recruiting force that the DoD has. But we get the job done. You get the job done. And lastly, never forget that the people that we take care of, if we take care of them and their families, elevate their family readiness and their quality of life, they will take care of the mission as they have shown. So congratulations. Look forward to you coming in. Bammer, after 2 weeks off, I said it out loud in front of everybody, just in case he thinks I'm not serious. We'll welcome you into the 3-6, but Jeeves has left a good team behind as he transitions over. We'll be fine. You and Kathy and the family go someplace where you can take a lot of deep breaths and just kind of relax and enjoy each other. Thanks for all you've done. Thank you.
Mrs. Amrine, would you please come forward to the stage for a special presentation? In accordance with Department of Defense Instruction 1400.25V451 and Air Force Instruction 36-1004, Department of the Air Force Civilian Recognition Program, it is our honor to present you with the Department of the Air Force Scroll of Appreciation in recognition of your tireless volunteerism and steadfast advocacy for the airmen and families of the Air Force Accessions Center. The certificate reads, in appreciation to Kathy Amrine, Department of the Air Force Scroll of Appreciation, Mrs. Amrine distinguished herself in supporting airmen, guardians, and families at the Air Force Accessions Center from 2 June 2023 to 18 July 2025, boosting morale and welfare. As senior lead spouse for the Family Support Council, she enhanced quality of life for over 6,300 personnel and families through briefings on health care, child care, and spouse employment. She led a team of 11 in a 4-day family readiness conference for key support spouses, integrating resources, leadership training, and partnerships. She visited the recruiting schoolhouse monthly, sharing 5 and Thrive initiatives and support for families in remote locations. As part of the Squadron Leadership Course Spouse Advisory Group, she has shaped the Air University's Leadership Seminar for over 425 participants, earning a digital recognition for the course. Her mentorship addressed childcare, employment, education, housing, and healthcare, fostering resilience. Her impactful contributions reflect great credit upon herself, the organization, and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, Air Force Accessions Center, General Amrine.
Awesome. General Sheffield, if you put the formation at ease, please. Well, good morning. What a glorious Air and Space Force morning it is. To our distinguished guests, thank you for being here. To the friends and family, teammates that took time to come out, and to the AFAC family, thanks for being here. It's a privilege to stand before you today as we mark a milestone, the first change of command for the Air Force Accessions Center. A historic moment for a command that not long ago existed only as an idea shared across organizations and brought to life through the hard work at all echelons, Department of the Air Force, AETC, AFRS, and the Home Center. Today is a moment of change, but also I'd like to pause and look back and for this team to take stock of what they have built together. What you have built here is nothing short of remarkable. So today, the theme for me is about thank you. To the team that brought this ceremony to life, protocol, the support team, everybody behind the scenes, your planning, precision, and professional execution today made this possible. To the Air Force Band of the West, thank you for providing the rhythm, cadence, and tradition that grounds this inspirational moment. You remind us why these ceremonies matter. To the recruiters, trainers, mentors in the field, you are the front line of the mission. You enter communities, some deeply rooted in military tradition, and others where the Air and Space Force uniform is completely unfamiliar. You build trust. You inspire. You've connected. You don't just tell the story of service, you invite and motivate the next generation to do it. You've met the future airmen and guardians where they are, and you show them who they can become. You take a yes, and you shape it into readiness. From the first oath to the first salute, you are there. You prepared not just trainees, but future leaders, and the results have spoken for themselves. In 2024, you hit that mark and delivering some even above that, all while building for a big increase in 2025. Again in 25, as General Robinson said, we had the pleasure to inform that we hit this 3 months early. 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 3 We built that bank of future airmen to a 10-year high. And in case folks are wondering, why did the ceremony start at 55 past the hour? There are many reasons military organizations do that. It usually is to commemorate the number of the organization. But today, it is about the 55,000 total force airmen and guardians we were prepared to bring into the service this year. Had we not had a mark, and we have not hit that mark in over 15 years, and only due to the year-long CR, which limited the budget, did we have to de-scope that to 52,000. Think about that for a moment. On the RegAF side alone, you all went from 24,000 in 2023 to a rapid recovery of 27,000 in 24, and now 30,000 new airmen and guardians on the RegAF side going to BMT this year. Thousands of new officers, initially what we recruited in AFRS for OTS, but now with AFAC includes all of the Home Center, all of ROTC as well. And this amazing team produces 85% of the DAF's officer requirements. You did all of this while standing up a new command, navigating policy shifts, and leading through one of the most complex accession environments in 50 years. You delivered when it mattered most. To the airmen, guardians, civilians, and mission support teams across AFAC, the headquarters, the community, thank you for being the engine behind everything you do. You planned, you adjusted, you executed. You forecasted trends, you moved resources around, you cleared backlogs, and you kept the data flowing, even when the pressure was high and the timeline was short. Whether you were building strategy, coordinating travel, running evaluations, or keeping our C2 systems online, your work made the success possible. You took a concept and proved it could deliver, not only on paper, not only in theory, but in action. You did not wait for the conditions to improve, you improved them. You didn't just respond to the challenge, you defined it. You had it by doing it with a bias for action. You owned the mission and you made it work. As I prepare to step away from this role, my heart is full of pride in everything we built, full of gratitude for the honor to serve alongside you. In just 2 years, you have transformed and building a new command into a model of agility and excellence. You established a culture that lasts, and you proved when the mission demands more, you deliver more. Lieutenant General Robinson, Chief Bickley, thank you for your trust and your leadership and your constant support. You gave us room to grow and the confidence to deliver. To Chief Arbona, thanks for being a fantastic wingman and mentor these past 2 years, along with the AFAC front office, from General Sheffield, General McPike, Colonel Trosper, and Mr. Romero, trusted advisors, outstanding leaders in their own right. I would also like to recognize, I'll talk about my family in just a little bit, but what the support team did for AFAC, starting with Kathy and Steve, but all the way down. I do want to say thank you. It's amazing. Brigadier General Nelson, welcome. Jeeves, it's an honor to be able to pass the guide on to you. You are stepping into a command that is mission-driven, innovation-focused, and built to win. They're ready for what's next, and they are extremely lucky to have you and Courtney become the next AFAC command team, along with Chief Featherston and Micah. To my family, first my kiddos, Annie, Laurel, and CJ, these past 2 years have been a challenge for you, no doubt. With the help of my front office team, Mom and I did our best to make all the biggest moments for you, understanding there were countless ones we missed. You continue to serve our Air Force and nation by being a stalwart Air Force family. Most especially to my wife, Kathy, thank you. Thank you for your patience, for your strength and your grace. You built an amazing recruiting and accessions family network with your family council, our key support liaisons, and other echelons of command spouses, the MFRC, and family care teams. You have been my constant through every trip, every time zone, every season of sacrifice. This role demanded a lot, and you gave even more. I could not have done it without you, and I love you very much. At the end of the day, the AFAC team knows what that means. At the end of the day, this AFAC team, from the field to the headquarters to the families, you bolstered our ability to execute, care for the families, and show that our new accessions, when they join this Air and Space Force, it is a new family designed to defend your family and America, the greatest nation in the history of the world. Thank you all, and God bless you.
General Amrine, in honor of your support and exceptional leadership, the men and women of the Air Force Accessions Center would like to render you a final salute. Historically, the passing of a flag was accomplished in front of the unit so all could see and witness the changing of leadership. This symbolic tradition first began in the Air Force with the first Chief of Staff, General Carl A. Spaatz, and the first Secretary of the Air Force, the Honorable W. Stuart Symington, in September 1947. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as General Robinson presides over the change of command. Under the provisions of Department of the Air Force Instruction 51-509 and Special Order Number 25-18, Brigadier General Christopher Amrine relinquishes command of the Air Force Accessions Center to Brigadier General Jeffrey Nelson, effective 18 July 2025. Signed, Lieutenant General Brian Robinson, Commander, Air Education and Training Command. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, Air Force Accessions Center, Brigadier General Jeffrey Nelson.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your attendance at today's change of command ceremony, both in person as well as those watching virtually. Lieutenant General Robinson, sir, thank you for your kind words and for your trust and confidence in selecting me for this position. Thank you also to yourself and Miss Maureen for your mentorship and friendship with Courtney and I over the years. I want to extend a special welcome to my family, to my wife Courtney. Thank you for your love and support during my entire career. There's no one else I'd rather be on this adventure with. Your positivity and courage across all my many jobs, and there have been many, and many moves, has not been lost on me. I can't wait to see what the kind of excitement this assignment brings to our family. To our kids, Tanner and Reagan, thank you for being great kids. I guess I need to start using air quotes when I say kids now since you're 20 and 16. Both of you have been adaptive and resilient in all of our moves, but I guess I should also use air quotes when I say moves here at Randolph because I've had 3 jobs and I've moved offices 3 times, but we've stayed in the same house. Thank you for that, General Robinson for the house, and General Oakland, too, for not making me move. To the rest of my family and friends in attendance today, my parents, my sister, and friends from throughout my career and prior to my Air Force career, thank you for being here. To the rest of my family and friends watching online today, thank you for taking the time to attend as well. To the distinguished visitors in attendance today, active and retired general officers, senior executive service members, command chiefs, Air and Space Force civic leaders, ATC civic leaders, and Chamber of Commerce members, thank you for attending this morning. Additionally, I'd like to welcome all commanders, directors, chiefs, senior enlisted leaders, first sergeants, members of the Joint Base San Antonio team, and of course the members of the Air Force Accessions Center who have come out to witness this event. Welcome, thank you for attending today. To the team that helped put this ceremony together, thank you. To the project officer, Major Johansson, the narrator, Master Sergeant Graciano, Father Kinney, the Air Force Band of the West, the Base Honor Guard, the 12th Line Training Wing for letting us use this hangar, the 3rd Audiovisual Squadron, the Commander of Airmen, Brigadier General Sheffield, and finally, all the protocol and public affairs teams for AETC and AFAC as well. All of you, thank you for all your help ensuring the success of this event today. Please give them all a round of applause. Brigadier General Amrine and Chief Arbona, both of you have led this organization well and leave very big shoes to fill for Chief Featherston and I. As we heard earlier, during your tenure, you brought this organization to life and added significantly to the history in such a short period of time, including the Air and Space Force recruiting goals for this year 3 months early. Although, Bammer, I thought we agreed to not make that announcement until July 19th. But I'm kidding. Your leadership and hard work over the last 2 years has made that achievement a reality. Thank you for what you have done. Thank you also for the discussions and handover we had over the transition period over the last couple of weeks. You've helped ensure Chief Featherston and I are ready for today. The longer we've been in the Air Force, the smaller it seems to become, just looking around the audience. But also, Bammer and I have been friends for years, so it's nice to take command from him today. While I know you and Chief Arbana have poured yourselves into this organization over the last 2 years, I know you also are looking forward to taking some time off and leave, and having only one cell phone for a couple of weeks. The AETC Director of Ops and Communications cell phone, my old work cell phone, is eagerly awaiting your return from leave, and it'll be ready for you to pick up. I wish you all the best in your next adventure just across the base. Finally, to the men and women of the Air Force Accessions Center, I'm honored and humbled to be your commander. I'm committed to working for you and with you every day. I look forward to ensuring you have the resources and tools necessary to execute our mission of recruiting, officer accessions, and citizen development. I cannot wait to see where the next 2 years will lead us as we work together to continue to showcase excellence for our Air Force and Space Force. In closing, all existing orders, directives, and processes remain effective until otherwise directed. Thank you, everyone, for attending today.
The men and women of the Air Force Accessions Center would like to render the first salute to General Nelson as the Air Force Accessions Center Commander.
Accession Center, stand cut, present, arms.
Thank you, General Nelson. We have a special presentation for Mrs. Nelson. Ma'am, please accept this bouquet of flowers as our welcome gift to you. The men, women, and spouses of the Air Force Accessions Center look forward to your wisdom, guidance, and support during the course of your time with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the Air Force Accessions Center are proud to have served with General Amrine and wish him and his family good luck and Godspeed in their future endeavors. We also look forward to serving with General Nelson and his family as he assumes his new duties as commander of the Air Force Accessions Center. Please stand and join us in the singing of and playing of the United States Space Force song, the Air Force song, followed by the departure of the official party. join us for a reception at the Par Oak Club. Thank you for attending, and we wish you a pleasant day.